Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Shawnit Speaks, February's live edition. I am so sorry for the late start, technical difficulties, and but we're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know if I'm being heard. If you're seeing the slides, please let me know. Heard. All right. So I think I'm being heard. My slides are being shown. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me today on Shawnit Speaks. I am excited to be here. And today we are going to talk about puppy love or intentional love, or puppy love versus intentional love. We're in the month of love. We're a few days away from love. And what are we going to do with this thing called love? You know, not everybody have that special person to share that special space with, and to share that special place in your heart with. And some folks do have such persons, and they're still not being loved the way they're supposed to, or the way they think that they're supposed to. So today we are just going to go through some basic tools that I'm going to share with you on how to differentiate from puppy love to intentional love. So the purpose of this discussion is to help individuals recognize the difference between puppy love and intentional love, so that we can build stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling relationships. Many people focus on infatuation with genuine love. They confuse the two, leading to unrealistic expectations, emotional disappointments, and failed relationships. But understanding these two, puppy love or intentional love, we can recognize the difference between the excitement and the true love emotional connection, develop emotional maturity in relationships, make intentional choices that lead to lasting love, and avoid heartbreaking by setting realistic expectations. So I have a guest with me today in studio. I have a guest. I don't know if you can see her. I hope you can see her. Say hi, Nali. Say hi. So this is Nali. Nali is all snuggled up today in her Valentine's Day silky pajamas, and she have her bow in her hair, and she's going to help me facilitate today's talk. All right? Puppy love. When we talk about puppy love, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So my question for you today is, have you ever mistaken puppy love for something deeper? Drop a heart in the chat if you have. If you have ever mistaken puppy love for something deeper. All right? And what is puppy love? What is puppy love? Puppy love refers to intense but short lived romantic feelings typically experienced during adolescence or early relationships. It is often characterized by infatuation, idealization, and emotional excitement. Butterflies in your stomach, your sweaty palms when you think of that person, or you going to meet that person, but it may lack the depth and maturity of long-term love. While commonly associated with young love, adults can also experience puppy love in their early stages of relationship. So what I want you to understand, that there's nothing wrong with puppy love, but as we go on, you will understand the difference and where puppy love falls into love and where intentional love falls in also. Puppy love, it's intense attraction, excitement, and infatuation, the idealization of the person rather than truly knowing them, often short lived and emotionally driven. You cry when it's gone. You feel like you can't live. You're gonna die. Nobody else is gonna love you. You can't love nobody else ever again. Then it's also associated with teen crushes, when your kids come home and tell you, oh, they love this person, and they get excited, and you're just sitting there sometimes looking at them like, poor thing. When you grow up, you'll understand. But to them at that time, that puppy love that they're experiencing is really crucial for them. Feeling like you're in love after all but just a few days or even few weeks. So few days, you are on cloud nine. There's nothing that's going to stop you. You are going to give your everything. You are going to make sure you answer every phone call, return every text, sit down waiting for that text to be turned blue or for that message to light up. And if it doesn't light up, then you're saying the person is ignoring you, feeling like you're just in love after those few days, and more about feeling actually compatibility. Question for you. Have you ever experienced puppy love? Type yes in the chat if you have. Have you ever experienced puppy love? All right, I'm seeing them coming in. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. What is intentional love? Intentional love means it's done with purpose. It's done with awareness and deliberate effort rather than accident or impulse. It involves making conscious choices that aligns with a specific goal, value, or desired outcome. It's intentional living, making thoughtful decisions about your time, your relationships, and priorities rather than just acting out of habit or external pressure. Built on trust. It's mutual respect and shared values. It involves conscious effort and emotional maturity, growth oriented, and based deeper into understanding. So if you realize that puppy love is taking over longer time period than when intentional love is supposed to start coming into action play, then something is wrong. Puppy love does not last forever. And if one party is seeking to have intentional love and the other party only wants puppy love, something is wrong. Two persons must be intentional about the relationship. And it involves making that conscious choice that now it's puppy love because it's first time love. And now it's time to move away from puppy love and move into intentional love. As we talk about intentional love, choosing intentional love transforms relationship from temporary infatuation to lasting connection. I want you to remember that. It's moving away from temporary infatuation to lasting connection. It means that you're making deliberate choice every day to nurture, to grow, and to commit your relationship before fleeting emotions. So these are expectations that you are going to lay out before you even start looking into relationships, because you have to let yourself know that these are the expectations that I will have first of myself, and then you will be able to transfer these expectations to somebody else who you are partnering with to create this intentional love. Your relationship becomes stronger and more resilient. You learn to communicate effectively. So you handle conflicts with maturity and you build trust. You experience deeper and emotional and mental connection. It's almost as if you hear somebody said, oh, we can start a sentence and we can finish it together. That's building. You're building because now it's taking intentionality to think almost what the person is going to say. Intentionality. You experience that deeper emotional and mental connection. It's not this surface thing. It's not this only butterfly thing that's in your stomach, right? But it's also taking work to do and to have that love connection that is lasting. You make conscious choices, not just emotional reaction. Instead of acting on impulse, you think, you reflect, and you choose. Intentional love takes thinking, reflecting, and choosing. What strengthens the relationship? Love becomes an action and a daily decision. So it's not hopscotch. You can't say, oh, I love this person this day and I don't love them the next day, or I love her this day and I don't love her. Oh, she said something to me today, so I'm not going to love her. Or she said something to me yesterday, so I'm going to stop loving her. No, intentional love takes hard work. It takes action and it's daily. It also takes action in working on yourself. It's not passive. It's not a passive experience. And as you get older and more seasoned and more mature, you will understand these aspects of intentional love. You prioritize growth over perfection. And let me pause right here. I remember one day I said to my supervisor, I had a report that I had to do for her. And I said to her, I'm just trying to make it perfect. And she said to me, no, I don't want you to think that I want you to have it perfect. I want you to grow in doing the best way possible. And I thought about that from that day until now and everything that I do. Sometimes we get so caught up in perfection and we miss the importance of the growth period. So today I want you to understand, even in relationships, let's not focus on perfection, but let's focus on the growth. Prioritize that growth over perfection. So now I prioritize being intentional about making sure that my report is the way it's supposed to be, that it transfers what I'm capturing to my supervisor so she will have the full scope of what had happened. And that's about relationship, capturing what you want to have it to look like, that growth process, instead of wanting it to be perfect. You build a love that's lasting. Infatuation fades away, but intentional love deepens over time. You create a foundation of trust, commitment, and you shared that purpose, making your relationship long lasting and fulfilling. Another question for the audience. Think of a relationship where you made intentional choices. What made the difference? What made the difference in those intentional choices that you made in any kind of relationship that you have experienced? So today I want to share with you some characteristics of intentional love and puppy love and the aspects that they are based on, so that you can kind of have something to guide you as you continue into love, seeking love, and even into your own self-love. So there's the aspects of puppy love and the aspects of intentional love, what they're based on: time frame, growth, communication, conflict resolution. So when we're talking about puppy love and what it's based on, it is based on emotions and attraction. And with intentional love, it's value, trust, effort, over time. First, emotions and attraction, because you are going to be attracted to someone. You are going to experience emotions, but it should not stay there. With over time, you should be able to move from puppy love to intentional love. And now you are starting to place values, trust, and effort. Time frame: puppy love, short lived, short term, fades away very quickly. Intentional love, long term, deepens over time, and you will see the fruits of that. You will able to know that you are moving away from puppy love and now you're moving into intentional love. Growth: no growth at all. Puppy love, little or none. You're stagnant. You're at the same position 10 years later. You're still his girlfriend or his boyfriend or his whatever title is given to you 10 years later. You still cannot get that definite title that you're looking for. You still have not yet been known. You're still being kept in that little pocket, or you're kept into that space where only the two of you know of each other. No growth. But with intentional love, it encourages growth and partnership. They are excited to talk about you anywhere they go. They are excited to share, to show you off. You are growing. Growth. You are seeing growth. The conversations are taking a different frame, right? The way you talk, the way you express yourself to each other, it is showing growth as you get as you foster this intentional love. Communication based on fantasy, no respect. With puppy love, if you continue to have disrespect in your relationship, it's time to check yourselves. And it doesn't mean that you will not have disagreement. But if the disagreement comes with disrespect, if the disagreement comes with name calling other than the names your parents gave you at birth, if the communication comes with calling you all manner of names and you are still accepting that, you are still in puppy love phase, even if you are in week 1. If you are being disrespected. With intentional love, it's honest, it's open, and it's real. You can say to that person, I do not like the way you talk to me. I do not like the way you called me out of my name. And that person can intentionally apologize or never to do that again. But if it keeps repeating itself and you are accepting it, you are in puppy love. You are in puppy love. You see, Nolly doesn't even want to stay in my hand for the duration of this conversation, because this is not where she feels comfortable the most, right? Even though she loved for me to keep her, but sooner or later she's going to go right back in her chair right next to me because that's where she's comfortable. Puppy love does not last. It doesn't last. It comes, it takes what it wants, and then after that, it goes right back to where that comfort zone is for that period of time. But with intentional love, it is lasting, it is open, it is real. And with conflict resolutions in puppy love, avoids our overreaction. One person will take it, it's all about them. It's all about, even when it's not about them, they will always deflect to come back to them. Why? Because puppy love do not want to take responsibility. Puppy love only wants to lick your face up and jumps off. Puppy love only wants to be in that moment and then they're gone. But with conflict resolution and intentional love, you work through the issues together. May I say, that takes 2 persons. If you are the only one that is trying to work through issues together, that's a problem. It must take intentionality on both parts. So again, as we go over the aspects, based on puppy love, based on intentional love, the time frame, short term, intentional love, long term, growth, little or none, intentional, encourages growth and partnership, communication based on fantasy, intentional, honest and open and real, conflict resolution, avoids overreaction, intentional, you work through issues together. How do we now move from puppy love to intentional love? Building tips for building an intentional relationship, self-awareness. Know what you truly want in love. Know what your love looks like. Know what you want your love to look like. And that takes a lot of work because you have to now be true to yourself. Because remember, whatever you are, you attract. And you cannot give what you don't have. And most times we expect what the other person cannot give. So if you have self-awareness, you will know what you truly want out of love. Emotional maturity. Learn to navigate feelings versus long-term commitment. Yeah. Learn to navigate those things. When you are experiencing those feelings, know where they are supposed to be in your life. Unhurt, healing, that's not happening in hurt. If it's transferred into relationship, there is going to be a problem. And may I say, it is okay to have hurt. It's okay. What you do with it, that takes on another conversation. Where you put it, how you go about getting help, that takes maturity. That takes emotional maturity for someone to look you in your eye and say, I am hurting, I need help, and can you help me, or I am going to find help. Most times, puppy love relationships are stagnant because one party is experiencing hurt and they are not willing to take care of that. And in order for puppy love to move to intentional love, both parties must become intentional about their emotional maturity. How to navigate those feelings. How do we move to healthy communication? Talk about expectations, goals, and values. What is it that you want out of this relationship? What is it that you are able to put on pause so that you can go and seek help, so that you can now come back and transfer what you have learned, how you have healed, and now being able to move forward? How to have patience and growth. In doing so, love is built and it's not just felt. That takes time. Question for you. What's one intentional act you can do in your relationships today? Put your answers in the chat. What's one intentional act you can do in your relationships today? Loving yourself can be temporary and surface level puppy love. So before I move on, we talked about puppy love versus intentional love. And because we are in February and because we are entering the week of Valentine's, I know for sure that we were all thinking that all of what was said earlier is focusing on a relationship, a love relationship, an intimate love relationship. But before we can get to that, I want us now to start thinking about self-love. Are you experiencing puppy love with yourself or intentional love? Loving yourself can be temporary and surface level. That is puppy love. Or deep intentional love is intentional love. Signs of puppy love with yourself, superficial or temporary. When you rely on external validation like compliments and achievements to feel worthy. So if nobody don't tell you you did a good job, if nobody don't tell you you looked beautiful, if nobody don't tell you that your outfit looks great, you don't believe that you can say that to yourselves. You totally rely on external validation. So for me, because I have to make this personal. So for me, every day when I dress and I look in the mirror, I say, girl, you look good. And then I'll go outside and some folks will say to me, how did you put those colors together? Or, I didn't know that polka dot and stripes can go together. And somebody who is not confident in themselves to wear polka dot and stripes will either turn their nose up, wrinkle their brow, and look at me and say, that don't look good. Now, if I rely on external validation, I will either run in the bathroom or I'll run to the store and try to purchase a piece of apparel and want to change it. Why? Because somebody say to me that my polka dot and my stripes don't look good. But because I don't rely on external validation, and because before I left my home, I looked in the mirror and I validate what I had on, that what the person said did not bother me. External validation. When you are living in signs of puppy love for yourself, you rely on others to compliment you, and you do not believe that you are worthy of whatever you have with yourself or the love that you have for yourself. You practice self-care occasionally. When you are experiencing puppy love, you will not believe that you are worthy to have self-care. You will believe that it's too much money to spend on yourself. You will believe that going to the spa and sit down and treating yourself is waste of time. Yet your body is crying out to you to say, I need some attention. When you go into puppy love stage with yourself, you do not treat yourself. You avoid deeper emotional work. You run away from your own thoughts. You run away from your own thinking. You ignore personal growth and you distract yourself from pain instead of healing. Oh no, nothing is wrong with me. No, I'm good. No, I'm not going to let nobody tell me what to do. Nobody can tell me how to get well. That's running away from who you are, running away from personal growth. That is a sign of puppy love, superficial, temporary love. You feel good about yourself only when things are going well. Can you relate to that? So if you are facing a challenge in your life, you think that the world is coming to an end. You think you are the worst person on the face of the planet, and you don't think nothing good is of you. When you're in puppy love stage, or when you're in superficial and temporary love, self-love, you do not feel good about yourself. Only when things are going well, you will do that. You abandon self-love when you make mistakes, feeling like you are not good enough. Guilty. It's a process. But as time goes by, feeling abandoned self-love is not bad. Lingering in abandoned self-love, that's where the trouble comes in. So I was talking to my therapist on Thursday. Was it Thursday or Wednesday? One of those days, Thursday evening, Wednesday evening. And I was sharing with her a situation that I'm experiencing, that I started to feel not good enough. And the good thing about my therapist is when I have these discussions with her, she always ends the session with me having homework on how to get rid of thoughts like these, right? So she usually don't let the session end without me not validating myself. And when I shared with her that I was in this notion of not good enough, she gave me some homework to do on how to get rid of that thought, right? And I know that I'm not the only one who experienced these, and I know you experienced those too, but staying in self abandonment, staying in there, that's where we have the problem. Finding ways and tools and method of coming out of it and saying to yourself, I am good enough. I am good enough. I am not going to abandon me. And one of the things that I've learned over life is always have someone that even when you're feeling that way, that you can reach out to them so they can help to pull you out, right? Because sometimes we don't have all of that strength, whatever we are experiencing. So have that one or two persons that you can pick the phone up, and even if you don't say anything, they can pick it up and say, what's going on with you? And because you have developed trust with that person, you can now share what's going on, and they can able to pull you out of puppy love, superficial and temporary self-love, and then bring you over into intentional self-love. We can move. Some of the key to move away, learn to navigate. I love this one. Learn to navigate your feelings. Learn to put them where they belong. Your feelings are like a canvas. Each feeling you experience plays a vital role in your life, and it has a place in your life and in your experience. And where the frustration comes about most time, it's because we do not know where they belong. But with emotional maturity, if you take time to know yourself and to put that feeling where it belongs, after a while, it becomes this beautiful canvas that you can now look on and say, that's my experience. That's my reference book. And now it won't become stagnant. Now you won't have expectations of others to love you, but now you will have real emotional maturity on how to love yourselves. And when you reach that stage, you will have no problem in reaching out and asking for help. I know when I need to call my therapist for 2 sessions in the week instead of 1. I know when to move from bi-weekly to weekly. I know when to move from bi-weekly to monthly. I know when to move from monthly to every other month. I have since learned those tools. I have now know how to navigate my emotional maturity on when to call her, how to schedule, how frequent to have them. Why? Because I had intentional self-love that I've since developed. Did not come over time, did not come 20 years ago. This growth came about the last 4 years. And I'm still growing. And that's what intentional self-love is all about. The awareness, self-awareness that I need help in this area of my life. Because the truth of the matter is, my friends, if we don't learn, we are only going to be lingering in puppy love stage. We are only going to be packing on hurt on top of hurt. And when it comes to season like these, Valentine's, you are only going to be sitting down waiting for somebody to come to you with whatever love looks like for them. You won't be even able to go outside and purchase yourself some balloons. You are going to wait for somebody to bring it to you. And if they don't bring it to you, then what happened? Some of the key takeaways that I want to share with you today about puppy love versus intentional love. Puppy love is temporary. Intentional love is built on trust. Puppy love is driven by emotions, attractions, excitement, but often fades when challenges arise. Puppy love have its place in your life. It's only for a moment. If it's lingering longer, then there's a problem. If you are the only one that wants it to move to intentional, then there's a problem. If you only is accepting it to stay in puppy love stage and you're giving intentional your investment, but you're getting puppy love deposit, then you are going to be in trouble. Intentional love grows over time through effort, through commitment, and shared values. And I'm still talking about self-love here. If you are staying in puppy love, superficial love with yourself, there is a problem. You need some help. There comes a time when we have to move away from puppy love, superficial love with ourselves. Feeling alone does not sustain a relationship. Infatuation feels amazing, but it isn't enough to build on a lasting relationship. It's almost like when I was growing up in Jamaica, they used to have this love bush, and you coming home from school and you would pick it, and then you would say, you would call the names of the persons that you think love you or you love, and then you would throw it, and then you would expect it to grow. And every time you pass that area where you think it's growing and you don't see it's growing, you think the person don't love you. But if it's growing, then you think the person is loving you, but then you don't even have the relationship because the person don't even know that you have that feelings for them, right? So feeling alone is not going to sustain a relationship. Love requires communication, trust, and mutual effort. Two people, not just strong emotion. My grandmother would have said, one hand can't clap. Try clap with one hand. The same thing with building strong relationships. If it's only coming from your side alone, it's not going to work. Intentional love requires self-awareness. Know your values. If you don't have them, start working on them. What your values are. That will be the driving force for how you love yourself and how you love others and how others will love you. No values, no love. Intentional love isn't just about how someone makes you feel. It's about whether you align. They align with your life vision and your emotional well-being. If you are giving out more than what you are receiving, it's a problem. It's called draining. Intentional love isn't just about how someone makes you feel. Again, it's about how you align. If they align with your vision and your emotional well-being. Conflict and growth strengthens real love. Puppy love avoids or it crumbles under conflict, but intentional love works through challenges and grows stronger over time. Mature relationships are built on embracing challenges and not running away. Love is a choice, not just a feeling. Intentional love means showing up when emotions fluctuate. Commitment, respect, and effort create lasting connection beyond this initial spark. So even though the spark is still there, it's not just when the person wants to show up. It's not only just when you want to show up for yourself. No, you have to have this commitment. On this day, I am doing this for myself. I am taking care of myself. This is my day. This is my time. This is my moment. and you are intentional about that, and you do not feel guilty when you are going to spend time with yourself. You don't feel that spending some money on yourself is not important or it's a waste of time, but yet you're willing to spend it on someone else because you are having expectations that if you do, you will get. No. Intentional love. Ask about yourself. I am choosing love over just chasing feelings. Ask yourself, are you in love with the person or the idea of being in love? Are you being in love with yourself? Are you investing in building a solid foundation or just enjoying the excitement? Here is your call to action. It's time to change. Intentional love changes things. Intentional love changes things. Change takes intentionality. Change takes hard work. Change is not a sprint. Change is a journey. In puppy love will make it feel like a sprint. You want to jump from here to there. No, change is a journey. Take time with yourself. Change takes trust. Your gut feeling don't lie. Red flags are red flags for a reason. Do not misinterpret red flags for green flags and say go when it says stop. But when we are in puppy love mentality, we tend to not pay attention to red flags, even with yourself. If you are not healing, do not attempt loving. If you are not healing, do not attempt loving. Heal from pain and hurt before you can move into intentional love. Change takes patience. Be gentle with yourselves. Take time with yourselves. Change takes you. Change takes you. So here are my closing thoughts on puppy love versus intentional love. Are you just caught up in the emotions, or are you making intentional choices in love? And when I say love, I'm talking about self-love, as well as I'm talking about intimate love, as well as I'm talking about agape love with others. Puppy love is exciting, but intentional love is lasting. It's easy to get swept up in emotions, butterflies, and the thrills of something new. But real love isn't just about how someone makes you feel in the moment. It's about choosing to grow together, communicate openly, and build on something meaningful. True love isn't just found, it's created through patience, effort, and a shared commitment to something deeper than infatuation. Feeling may fade, but intentional love stands the test of time. The greatest intentional love that one can experience is one with themselves first. Real love is a choice, it's not just a feeling. Choose to show up, choose to grow, and choose to love intentional. Choose to show up for yourself. Choose to grow with yourself, and choose to love intentionally with yourself. Puppy love is about excitement. As I said earlier, it's real magic, and it happens every day when you're experiencing that. But when you choose you should not be afraid of what you're experiencing. Love that lasts isn't built on fleeting emotions, but it is consistent actions, trust, and shared purpose. Do you trust yourselves? Think about that. Do you trust? Ask yourself the question, do I trust? Do I trust you, Shawnette? Do I trust you? So if the answer is no, then I cannot expect others to trust me or me to trust someone else. Trust begins with you. Trust begins with you. Infatuation fades, but intentional love deepens over time. Water what you want to grow. If you don't water what you grow, it's going to die. And you cannot expect somebody else to water what you want to grow, because they might either give it less water or they might overwater it. But with you knowing who you are, what your capabilities are, what your expectations of yourselves are, you will know the right amount of water that you need to grow. The strongest relationships aren't perfect, they are intentional. Build on patience, understanding, and a commitment to grow together. Love isn't just about finding that right person. It's about becoming the right person and choosing love daily. Whatever you want from somebody, you got to be. You've got to be that to yourself first. True love isn't about finding someone who completes you, but it's about building together wholeheartedly together. Build together. Build with yourself. Build with others so that you can see what you have to offer from what you have of yourself. An intentional relationship is one where love is nurtured, communication is prioritized, and growth is embraced. Can I say that again? An intentional relationship is one where love is nurtured, communication is prioritized. So if somebody's saying something to you and you're not clear about it, tell them, I don't understand what you are saying. And if somebody's saying that to you, do not take it as an offense that somebody's not listening. They just need clarifications. And growth is embrace. Do not fail to embrace your growth. And do not fail to embrace somebody else's growth. What I've come across lately is to see that a lot of folks are now in competition with their partners instead of embracing growth. Don't let that be a part of you. Embrace growth in your partners. Embrace growth in your friendship. Embrace growth in your own self. In your own self. And when you embrace growth within yourself, then you will be now ready to embrace growth in others. If you see that you can now move from this stage to that stage with yourself, embrace it. Embrace it. Because you doing that to yourself will now allow you to go outside and be able to embrace love in somebody else. You'll be able to embrace growth in someone else. The greatest love is the love that is found in John 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. God's love plays a significant role in cultivating intentional love because it serves as a model and a foundation for how we are to love ourselves and how we are to love others. Here are some ways God's love impacts intentional love. God's love is unconditional love. God's love is often described as unconditional, meaning it is not based on our actions or unworthiness. God just loves us because he loves us. 2, patience and forgiveness. God's love is patient and forgiving. He gives us the grace to grow, make mistakes, and learn from them. Be patient with yourself. Forgive yourself. That's the only way you're going to be able to be patient with somebody else and be able to forgive somebody else. Purposeful and sacrificial. God's love is purposeful and sacrificial. He demonstrates his love by sending Jesus to die for our sins, a profound act of love that calls us to love intentionally, even when it requires sacrifice. Some of the sacrifices that I had to make in learning how to love myself is to admit that I need additional support and help. That took a lot for me to even acknowledge. Then for me to go and search for one. Then for me to pay for one. Not thinking that I'm not worthy to receive that. So it requires sacrifice and it requires purposefulness. It's transformational. God's love transforms us. When we experience his love, we are changed by it. And the transformation empowers us to love yourself wholeheartedly and then love others with a more intentionality. God's love empowers us to love others intentionally by showing us how we love selflessly, forgivingly, sacrificially, and with a purpose. It transforms our hearts and our motives, and it motivates us to engage in relationship with deep sense of care and intentionality. Self-love versus giveaway love. Intentional love is patient. Be patient with yourself. Intentional love is kind. Be kind to yourself. Intentional love does not hate, so don't hate yourself when you make a mistake. If you want to have intentional love, let it begin with you. Remember, you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot expect others to give you what they don't have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot love someone if you don't love yourself. You cannot. If you force that, you are going to end up in puppy love for the rest of your life, and that is now going to hand you down misery. Loving yourself takes action. So, signs of intentional love with yourself: you are going to accept and love yourself through the highs and through the lows, not just when life is good. You practice self-awareness, acknowledging both your strength and the areas of your growth. Your self-worth isn't tied up to external validation. You know who you are and you are just enough just the way you are. You're committed to mental, emotional, and physical well-being, even when it's uncomfortable. If you're not feeling well up here, it's time to share it. If you're not feeling well here, it's time to talk about it. And if you're not feeling well physically, your body is not operating the way it's supposed to, you're hurting physically, you're seeing signs and symptoms, it's time to address it, even if it is uncomfortable. If it does not become uncomfortable, it cannot change to comfort. You show yourself grace and patience, learning from your mistakes instead of self-judging. I tell folks now that my mistakes are my book of reference. I turn the pages and I look back on my reference and I go back to my reference to see how I can grow from that. Puppy love with yourself feels good temporarily, but intentional love, self-love, is transformational. It means choosing yourself every day, even when it is hard. Question to you, which type of self-love are you practicing now? Drop a heart for intentional love in the comment section. Which type of self-love are you practicing now? I want you to know that puppy love have its place. Just like Nolly. She have her place. She knows her place. She knows when she's tired of just being in my arms. She knows that. She knows where her best comfort is. And she will always seek to go there. You should know where your best comfort is. And if it's not where you are today, why not start changing that? Start making small steps. Valentine's Day is this week. Why not treat yourself? Why not start paying attention to yourself and not having to wait on somebody else to do it for you? You do not have to linger one more moment in a puppy love situation that has since passed that stage. Intentional love is lasting. Intentional self-love is lasting. God's love is lasting. Puppy love is temporary, fleeting, and it only stays for a short period of time. Thank you so much for joining me today on Shaunnette Speaks. I hope that after you have listened to this, you will find one thing that I've shared with you today that will cause you to change from puppy love experience into real intentional self-love that will now move you over into loving others. Why not start with yourself? Why not begin today? Why not start now? Until next time, I am Shaunnette, and this is Shaunnette Speaks. And remember to love, subscribe, share on all my platforms. Until next time, take care. But remember to love yourself. In doing so, you will be intentional about who you are. Thank you. How do I go to I want to go back to my live. We're here. All right. Hello, hello. Are you still here? Oh, hi. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. Anyone with any question? Anybody wants to ask a question? Anybody wants to see Nolly again? She's right here. Thank you so much, all those who came on. Yes, Sansia's support is very, very important. And, I have been, watching and seeing folks and how they are dealing with this love and I was once there too, right? So I'm not here to say, your puppy love experience is bad or all of that, but make an effort. Make an effort to start with yourself. If you don't hear anything that I said today, make an effort to start with yourself. Sansia, thank you for joining. Cassie, thank you for joining. Cassidy, Auntie Nav, thank you for joining. Gideon, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Coco. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time on Shaunnette Speaks, remember, self-love is the greatest love you can experience. Have a wonderful evening. Bye. end stream.